You ever hear a sentence so sharp it cuts through your chest like glass? I did. I made your life. I deserve half of it. Those words weren't whispered in anger or tossed around during some petty fight. No, those words echoed inside a courthouse, where the woman I once promised forever stood across from me, like a stranger ready to carve my world into. My name is Daniel Hayes. I'm 51 years old, and a few months ago, I learned that the life I thought I built with love, loyalty, and sweat was nothing more than a chessboard. One where I was the fool, and she was 3 moves ahead. But to understand how I ended up here, bleeding out pieces of my own legacy, you need to see how it started that we met in college. I was the broke kid swinging a hammer in the summers, trying to pay for my engineering classes. She, Claire, was the girl with a notebook always scribbling stories that could make the dullest news sound like poetry. Back then, when I'd come home with my hands cracked open from hauling concrete, she didn't turn away. She smiled at me like I was some kind of hero. That was 24 years ago, a lifetime ago. And let me tell you, people don't stay who they were. The cracks in our marriage didn't show up as screaming matches. They slipped in quietly, like hairline fractures in the foundation of a house. You don't notice them until the whole damn thing starts to lean at it. Was about 8 months before the divorce when I first felt it. I was standing on a construction site in Cheyenne, hard hat baking under the sun, staring at shale rock where soft soil was supposed to be. My crew was panicked, extra costs, delays, deadlines slipping through our fingers. I solve it the way I always do: fast, direct, expensive, but effective. In construction, problems don't wait. You either break them down or they bury you. That day, while I was knee-deep in dirt and decisions, my phone rang. Claire. Her voice was soft, curious. Too curious. Daniel, we should review our insurance policies, just to be safe. By the way, how much depreciation do you claim on the excavators? Now, Claire never cared about my equipment. Hell, she used to fall asleep whenever I talked about business. Suddenly, she was jotting numbers, asking about assets, wanting to know how many machines I owned outright. That wasn't interest. That was inventory. At first, I brushed it off. Thought maybe she was finally trying to understand the business. But then one night, I caught her in my office, phone in hand, snapping pictures of contracts. Looking for tax papers, she said. Tax papers that had always been locked in the safe. And right there, staring at her under the dim glow of my desk lamp, I realized I wasn't looking at my wife anymore. I was looking at an opponent that I confided in friends, old poker buddies who'd been through their own wrecks. One of them, Tony, gave me a warning that stuck like a nail in my skull. When a wife who's never cared about the numbers starts digging into your accounts, it ain't curiosity, brother, it's strategy. I wanted to believe he was wrong. I wanted to believe Claire still saw me as the man she once admired, not a balance sheet she could carve up. But the signs kept piling up: secret lunches, hush phone calls, unexplained errands. And then came the real betrayal. Kyle Bennett, my business partner. 14 years we'd run Hayes Construction side by side. He'd been at my father's funeral. He'd helped me lift the coffin. I trusted him with my company, my legacy, my life's work. But one late night, I heard him on the phone. The contracts are in the files. The real money's in the client list. Once we have it all, we can underbid him until he's out of the game. Don't worry, Daniel trusts too easily. Always has. It was like hearing my own eulogy that he wasn't just stealing my business. He was laughing while he did it. I brought in a private investigator. 3 weeks later, she handed me a folder thick enough to choke me. Inside, photographs, receipts, timelines. Proof that Claire and Kyle weren't just conspiring. They were together. 10 months. Hotels, dinners, secret trips. My wife and my partner weren't planning to take me down separately. They were building a future together on the ashes of mine. And the part that burned worst? Claire had been planning this for over a year. Even while she stood beside me in my father's grave, holding my hand, her mind was already scheming how to rip the ranch, the land my grandfather cleared by hand, out from under me. That wasn't just betrayal. That was desecration. There I was, sitting on the porch of that same ranch one evening, the sky bleeding orange over the Wyoming hills, wondering how a man survives when the two people he trusted most have already buried the knife in his back. And I'll tell you this, I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I planned because I've spent my life building, solving, outlasting storms. And this storm would be no different, but I'll never forget the lesson carved into me by betrayal. The one smiling at your table may already be planning how to eat you alive. Oh, now, I'll ask you, what would you have done if you were me? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Because one thing's for sure, trust is the most expensive thing you'll ever give someone. And once it's gone, you'll never get it back.